If you drafted underperforming rookies, or maybe you're looking to buy low, I'm here to give you the panic meter on 7 of them right here on RotoWire. And the first one, we need to talk about the big 101 Ashton Jeanty. I'm going to be honest, I'd say my panic meter is at a 5 here. Realistically, you shouldn't have been drafting him in the first round to begin with. This has nothing to do with the individual talent, but it's the simple fact that the Raiders don't have a great offensive line and they weren't a great team. Getting a brand new running back isn't the thing that's automatically going to fix your offense. Now, keep in mind, I understand that they went and got Geno Smith and a couple other pieces, but I just don't think that having the first round draft capital was ever worthwhile. So we have two lenses to look at: the cost of what we paid for him and the cost of what he is now. I do think that, especially when you look at the broken tackle rate, everything that we're seeing on film, he's more than worth you going out and trying to buy low at this point. But I will say, if he's going to go against a stout defense, he's not an automatic start. If anything, I think he's more like a high-end RB2, or if you're a 0 RB guy, then he's going to be your RB1 depending on your build at this point. It's more matchup dependent than what we think, but especially when we look at these peripherals, he is just as talented as what we saw on film. So I am at least holding, and if I am going to move him, it's going to be to tier up. It's not going to be to tier down, and I don't think anyone above you is selling, so he looks like a firm hold. And if you are in a league where someone else has him and they're not watching this video, maybe go out and get him, because I expect the upside to be there. Next, Omarion Hampton. This is another one where I think the tea leaves were on the wall. We just chose to ignore them. Najee Harris was always going to be a threat. I know he had the weird eyeball thing, but they quickly got him on the field, and it looks like he's going to be involved. Moreover, a lot of people wanted to compare an offense with Colin Kaepernick or Lamar Jackson with the one with Justin Herbert. Now, this is no slight to Lamar Jackson as a passer, but especially Lamar Jackson now is far better of a quarterback than he was when he was with Greg Roman at the time. Moreover, Justin Herbert is just a different kind of player. So a lot of people didn't expect the passing volume that we expected now. And when you have a good trio of Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson, Keandre Lambert-Smith is even their wide receiver 4, who we know can probably be productive if one of these guys go down. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that Justin Herbert's going to have a top 5 quarterback season, and this offense isn't going to be as rush first as a lot of people thought they were going to be. My panic meter is at a 6, to be honest. Obviously, in Dynasty, you're going to hang on to him. I'm not really going to go out of my way to buy. I'd rather see that price drop a little bit further before I go all the way in on him. It's like I said, there's Najee Harris there, and then Justin Herbert looks like he's going to be slinging it a lot. I do hope that this defense is going to start keeping games a little bit more decisive than what we've seen, so maybe they lean into the run a little bit more if they get ahead early on. I do see that happening in the future. Now, another running back, TreVeyon Henderson. I was actually surprised at how poor his peripherals look. Not a lot of broken tackles. He's struggling on pass protection. These are the things that he was great at, but I do expect that this is going to turn around. But my panic meter is at a 6. If anything, I think it might be a light 6, maybe a strong 5, for the simple fact that I do think he is one of the most explosive playmakers in this offense. And especially with that passing usage that we've seen, if he continues to get targets, I expect that towards the second half of the season, we could see more out of Henderson. But keep in mind, this is another team who wasn't great. Now, I am surprised at how well Jagger May is playing. Actually, no, I'm not surprised at all. But I am surprised at how well this offense is functioning, even despite having such an odd receiving core that doesn't even seem to be using its best pieces, because Kyle Williams isn't doing anything yet. We haven't seen anything tremendous out of Stephon Diggs. It's a lot of Kayshon Boutte, and then we saw Matt Collins last game. So this offense, we still don't know quite what it's going to look like. So I'd be willing to put out offers on TreVeyon Henderson, and I'm not going to be in a hurry to buy him, even though I am worried about what his overall upside is going to be if this team is going to continue to rely on Ramondre Stevenson so heavily. Now, before we go any further, if you like content like this, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can continue to get videos like this to help you win all season long. And if you want access to all of our tools, all of our rankings and articles behind the paywall, go over to rotowire.com and put in the code YouTube15 at checkout for 15% off all of our products. And we'll get right back into it. Look at that, another running back. It's almost like this was supposed to be one of the best running back classes of all time, and it still has the opportunity to be. But Kaleb Johnson, my panic meter is at a 10. The guy can't even get on the field. He had one fumble. They tried to put him on punts and he muffed both of them. Now we even have Mike Tomlin saying that he's not going to do that anymore. I never expected Arthur Smith to be this bad about managing his personnel. Now I know that he's the offensive coordinator. I just don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh, and they don't seem to have any urgency to get Kaleb Johnson on the field. Seems to be the Jalen Warren and Kenny G show over there, and I just don't see a reason why you could even roster him at this point in redraft. If you have the room on your bench, maybe you can stash him and pick him up in the future. But if you have a shallow bench, I'd already kind of move off Kaleb Johnson because I just don't know the overall upside. He never was a receiver to begin with, so you're in PPR. He kind of has a lower ceiling than some other running backs to begin with, and now he's buried so far into the shadow realm. I'm just not interested in him right now. In Dynasty, maybe buy low if you can, but that low needs to be a second. And I would say it needs to be a late second if you have a pair of them. It needs to be the later of the two. Really, this is unfortunate because I was harsh on him as a prospect, and especially after the draft process and seeing his landing spot, I got talked into him. Now it feels like we're being burned. Now we're going to move off running backs and talk about some pass catchers. We'll move over to Chicago. We'll start with the tight end, Colston Loveland. My panic meter, it's at an 8 right now. I would still maybe pick him up if someone else has dropped him now to see what happens in the future, because he is a tight end, and we've been lucky with fast starts with tight ends as of late. But he was a top 10 pick, and we should see more out of him now. But I just think that the Bears have a lot of problems beyond just getting their pass catchers the ball. They still don't have the offensive line. Feels like they addressed everything but the real problems on this team, which is the trenches. When you consider that Rome Odunze is the clear top target, then we have DJ Moore. Everything else seems very tertiary as far as who is going to be next in the pecking order. That includes someone I'm going to come up next. So I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on Colston Loveland and move over to Luther Burden. Let's put it this way. They're putting a lot of 12 personnel out there, meaning they're having 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers instead of 1 tight end and 3 wide receivers. That means it's even worse for Luther Burden over in Chicago. I just don't see it for him this year unless there's an injury to DJ Moore. Maybe DJ Moore gives up or ad-libs on a route again, and that causes a problem. But that's really counting on someone else's failure, someone else who's been a proven talent and very productive to fail for him to get on the field. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen this year. And I even understand the chess move of why you want to chase that upside. But now you might want to try to pick up Kayshon Boutte or some of these other pieces, because I will say my panic meter on Luther Burden is at a 10 out of 10. Now we'll finish it off with the Packers and another wide receiver. It's Matthew Golden. Again, there's a lot of upside here, but I think his draft capital pretty much saves you a little bit from being burned too hard, because you were already drafting him as your wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on what your build is. This was always the gambit with the Packers. They spread the ball around a lot. Seems like Tucker Kraft is finally getting his legs underneath him to where we're starting to see him be a top 2 target. Now, Jayden Reed is gone. By gone, I mean he's on IR now with a broken clavicle. Romeo Doubs, I think, has cemented himself as the X in this offense. Now it's just on Tavian Wicks that's kind of in the way. So with Matthew Golden, I think you're kind of waiting on him to break out if he does, because keep in mind, if he waits too long, Jayden Reed might be back out on the field again, and we're worried about those targets. Is he someone that you want to trade for? If you're getting him in a 2-for-1 deal and you're desperate for some upside, maybe, but my panic meter from him, a strong 8. As always, I'm Jagger May. If you want more videos like this, hit that like, subscribe button. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.